Looks like we got four Canadians and one, two, three Americans on the line. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
For those of you
Happy
celebrating
Columbus Day.
in Canada, yes, it's Columbus Day. I don't know do you guys get a day off or anything like that? Is it a public? What do they celebrate Columbus Day?
Yeah, the bank's closed.
Banks close?
Yeah,
Post office
Stock
that's
market
closed.
was
about it.
open.
They picked up the garbage. That was an important thing.
Good, good, good. If I'm not mistaken, by the way, this is call 40. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I could be wrong, but somehow I think it's call number 40 from my notes. Maybe not. Wait, could be call, I think it is call 40. Okay, whatever it is, we'll figure it out and we'll post it correctly on the recording. I do have a recording, don't I? Yes, I am. Okay. Hello and welcome back to Align with Success. It is Thanksgiving in Canada, Columbus Day in the United States, and we decided we would have a call anyway, since most of us Canucks have celebrated Thanksgiving either on Saturday or Sunday, and it is Monday. Yes, Dave.
Now, because we don't have any new people on yet, we may. What I was thinking might be an interesting exercise is for people to tell us, you and I, how the business works and what you need to do.
Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Are you guys game to play?
Sure.
Okay. Well, then, who wants to be
Who's going
first?
to go first?
I will. Um, I always thought I knew what network marketing was because I've been involved with one company or another since 1980. I think my first foray was into Mary Kay. And I always thought it was sell a few products and recruit a few people to sell a few products. And I only this year realized that's not it. That's totally not it. And when I read Don Fala's book about the 45-second presentation, all of a sudden the light bulb went on.
Why?
Um,
What did you
because,
see?
well, first of all, it is about building a team, but the thing is, you don't have to do all the work. Because you may know 100 people and 97 will say no. But the thing is, the three that do say yes, they know 100 people. And when Lynn laid out the compensation plan for a bunch of us who were very confused, and she learned it from Dave, it all of a sudden made sense. So that's the reason why I've done more this year than I've done in the past 25.
Wow. Well, that says a lot. Now, if you consider all of you having been involved this long in a business, a network marketing business, and only now you're starting to get network marketing, imagine all the people who think they know network marketing and aren't even in a network marketing business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When they ask me now about is it network marketing, I say absolutely, you know, because you don't have to hide from it if you know what it is. And if they say they know what it is, then like Bob Proctor, but Bo and Bob Proctor, Bo said, well, explain it to me. And Bob couldn't. So, it really is an education finding out what network marketing really is. And to the point that Tim Sales and the other fellow were saying they're teaching it in the University of Chicago. Like, it's not just a thought now. It's not just like when franchises first came out, it was poo-pooed on too, until they realized that it is a business structure. And if you can understand and follow the structure, you can be successful.
Yeah. And as an industry, it's considerably larger than some of the biggest industries we are aware of. It's just
Mhm.
that, like you said, it's not well understood. Okay.
No.
So it's a business of team building, you said. Um, and not everybody, not, you don't have to do all the work, because it's shared amongst the team, and a lot of work gets done, even though it's not you doing it all. So, what else did you learn is the key to that happening? What's
Well,
the key to making that happen?
when I got sponsored, it was I joined to be a wholesale buyer, okay? And because that was the way it was presented to me, that's the way I presented it to other people. So a lot of people joined, bought all their durable goods wholesale, but they never went on auto ship. So as soon as they bought everything, they didn't bother renewing. And so I understand now the importance of auto ship. And I just sponsored somebody last week, and I was going to visit her today, but her store was closed. So I talked to her tonight, and I said I'll stop by tomorrow. And I've got a total information package on the new KVB and on the pink collagen and on the golden gut. And I've put them together in packages that I've made with all kinds of information. I said, I'm going to give you these samples because she did admit to me that she does take some kind of protein shake. And when I first sponsored her, I said, you know, you have to go on 100 points auto ship at minimum. So anybody that I sponsor now, I make sure they're on auto ship.
Okay, good. Um, you didn't quite answer my question, although it's part of the answer, I guess you could say. The other part of the question was, if it's a lot of people, how do we get to a lot of people? How does it become a team of a lot of people? What are the keys?
Well, like the old shampoo commercial, you tell two and they tell two and they tell two, you know, but start off telling four because you need three and one is a spare.
So you got law of numbers. Out of 100 people, maybe three will join and replicate. I would say probably more will join, but how many will actually replicate? And then the question is, what are they replicating? And you're saying auto ship has to be part of it
Yeah.
if it's going to be sustainable. So you're replicating getting you're replicating in order to get them going, but auto ship is incorporated into that.
Well,
Let
that's
let
key. That's key because I found a statistic when I used to go to the previews and I shared it with Michael Galley and I said, if they're on auto ship after 2 years, 92% are still with the company and they're making money. But if they don't go on auto ship, 98% of them fail. So do you want a 92% chance of success or you want a 98% chance of failure?
Okay. I'm not sure where those stats come from, but they sound good to me.
Well, it was in an article that I read about network marketing that has consumable products.
Got it. So let's read that back. So if you're on auto ship, 92% chance.
92% are still with the company with it, like after 2 years and they're making money. And if they don't go on auto ship, they're 98% chance of failure or
Got it.
attrition, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Good stats to know and to remind people of. Cool. Anybody
Just,
else?
just to back up, just to back up what Paula said, I did long-term studies of my business, and I found a third of them came from auto ship, a third of them came, or my income, a third came from qualifying, and a third came from new development. So it was there's a combination of activities that you want to incorporate. And I think what Michael is alluding to in the sense of a team, it's the phase one, phase two management direction. So when you get involved, your job is phase one, learn everything, understand everything, do everything, become the best you can at everything possible. And then phase two is teach others to do what you just did. And over time, Michael's in a complete phase two right now for the most part, where, and so am I, but just to use that as an example, where we have leaders upon leaders upon leaders upon leaders that have a vested interest in their life and their lifestyle and their business. And as a result of what we developed, that maintained itself and it continues to grow. And there's some really interesting numbers, and you can get really sophisticated with this once you get up to the diamond, royal diamond level, and you have a team of, hundreds of leaders underneath you and what they do, what happens, and how it works. It's very interesting. But definitely, in my opinion, you're on the right track.
Cool. And just to add to that, by the way, over the years, we've had different back offices. So statistics information was available to us over the years, organized differently. But one of the stats that I remember quite frequently was the percentage of activity of the organization. It was somewhere between 25 and 30%, 25 on average, was the percentage of activity of the entire organization. So if you're expecting 100%, that's ridiculous. And it's not even close to 50%. But when you got enough people and 25%, and it's not always the same 25%, it's just on average that given month, 25% of the team is doing something, whichever team it could be, like I said, it could be different people amounting to 25% every month. There's the usual suspects, and then there's a bunch of variances. But with 25% activity, you can still create quite a successful business. And that's important to know, statistically speaking, that it's a percentage of the numbers. It's always a percentage of the numbers. A third, a third, a third is a pretty typical number you'll hear. We call it the rule of thirds. And so yeah, it's knowing your business. But again, it comes back to numbers. These numbers don't mean anything if you just got three people. But when you got 300 people and 3,000 people and 30,000 people, those numbers mean quite a bit. Sue.
Well, what I remember, especially earlier, from Dave actually, was about creating your plan, and that I think getting people started off the bat is really important, like getting them acclimated to the back office and to getting things set up, and then sending them things so they know all the areas to plug into for information, and then being there with them, like for instance tonight on the call. But what I remember the most is him saying that once you get people going, you're not worried so much about the people directly under you. You want to help the people under them and under the next one succeed,
Okay,
to
so
make
now,
sure they're all learning the right
yeah,
plan.
now you're talking about the key. The absolute key to network marketing is building deep, going underneath people, helping them to find somebody and then in turn somebody. So there's a strategy around that. And the name for it is taproot. If you think of a tree has many roots, but there is a main root, if you will. And the main root is what you want to focus on and start developing multiple main roots. In other words, if you can help somebody sponsor somebody and then help that person sponsor somebody and then help that person sponsor somebody, then help that person sponsor somebody going straight down, then all that creates volume. But more importantly, it creates what Dave often refers to in his title, vested interest. If you've got somebody 5 generations down who buys products, then the person above them can benefit from that purchase if they themselves qualify or purchase themselves, which then triggers the person above them. And this can start to accumulate. And pretty soon you've got somebody on the knocking on silver if they just get maybe one other leg. And so now there's the incentive to get one other leg that would not have been there had that volume not been there. And that volume wouldn't be there if the first person down deep didn't start the fire, didn't trigger that reaction. So there's this strategy that creates generational growth. And just remember that. This is one of the terms you want to lock in on. If there's no generational growth, if there isn't duplication happening, if you're not involved in it, then you're always just going to have people that you enroll. A percentage of them are active, a percentage of them quit, a percentage of them do a little bit. Then that's kind of a linear, that's the small business model, if you remember our three models. But if you
Mhm.
have duplication happening, generational duplication, now you have network marketing happening, and that's when things can go really amazing. Yes, Dave.
Two concepts here that are really, really important to get in between the ears to utilize to think and how you plan and strategize. So in the very beginning, when I started network marketing back in 1975, I'm dating myself, but that's when I started. And it was with
You
the
know,
big
when
A.
they had the Model T Ford.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, it was like the Flintstones and the car you'd rub with your feet, back in those days. But anyway, the concept was to go wide as you go wide, 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 and you try, and you hope something sticks and hits the wall, et cetera, et cetera. And in dealing with that concept, and I just want you to flip that. If you draw this on a piece of paper, it'll make total sense to you instantaneously. So you draw a piece of paper and you draw circles wide. And then somebody comes along and buys product and joins your business. You keep going wide, and somebody comes along and buys your business and joins your business, but it's only directly related to you. So it's you and that person, you and that person. There's no real team development. But if you take that picture and flip it and just do the same thing, you go sponsor somebody and then help them sponsor somebody and help them sponsor somebody and help them sponsor somebody. Somebody gets active, they buy some product, you keep going. And then all of a sudden you light up the tree as Michael just pointed out, that's the depth concept. Well, back in 1990, when the company first started, the initial message from the guys at the top was go wide, so they would fill up their matrix. I want you to really get that. So if you got five and each person got five, then there's 25 and each person got five. That's 125 and five, with 625, et cetera, et cetera. So there'd be a lot of people there. Then what happened as the business grew, the volume left them. So if you again draw this on a piece of paper, you get paid to the sixth level. What about the 10th level? You don't get paid on that, but the sixth level can get paid on it. The fifth level can get paid on it. And so there was a change in philosophy from the go wide to go deep and build teams. And that became the thrust of our growth between 1990 and 2000 because that was the largest creation of groups in the company's history was in that era when people were building teams of leaders and teams of leaders and teams of leaders. So building silvers, golds, platinums, diamonds, royal diamonds, and those individuals, and then I'll use the term vested interest, had the vested interest. Now the key to this was the hook. And I'm going to say this in a very straightforward way. If you work for somebody, they have a hook on you. And the hook is you work for 2 weeks and then they'll pay you. So they get 2 weeks worth of work and then they pay you. If they don't like your 2 weeks of work, they'll fire you. That's the idea. Well, in network marketing, the hook is in order to get paid, you need to qualify. And if the prize is big enough, you'll write the check. So, for example, if you had $100,000 worth of volume below you and you needed to do 2,000 points to get paid on that, and you'd make, say, $6,000, it would behoove you just to buy $2,000 worth of product and turn that over to a charity to collect your $6,000, just logically. Not everybody would think that way, but that's just the pure magic of it. And so the key was with downline leadership was helping them make sure that they created volume so you needed to qualify and they needed to qualify. And the statistic I have for years and years and years is 100% of those that needed to qualify qualified. 100%.
We want to hear from others for sure, but I want
Yeah.
to point something out, Dave. 1999, this was published. This is the tool that we used in
Yeah.
order to duplicate, call it what it takes. And the last page is the actual strategy. Let me just see if I can pin myself, then you can see that. Okay, so build a taproot to create stability under the people you sponsor. And here was the plan. With your sponsor, you are going to go and see their top 10. So the first row is 10 people that you, as a sponsor to this person, whoops, up here, you're going to go with them and see 10 people, their top 10. Now, if you're going to go and see people, you want to make sure it's their top 10. So you're going to help them qualify that list so that you're not wasting time and they're not wasting time. You're going to see their best candidates. Then what happens is you find that one spark plug and then you help that person enroll and you go help see their 10. And then you find the spark plug in that group and you help them and you go talk to the 10 from their group. So you're building depth, but you're doing it by finding people they know. So it's a combination of prospecting a lot of people to find one, then help that person prospect a lot of people to find one, and help that person prospect a lot of people to find one, and you're building that taproot. And all the people that you're introducing them to, some will be customers, some will maybe buy wholesale, but the ones that join, they're the ones that you're going to continue to taproot. And it's that combination that creates a tremendous amount of activity and volume. Madeline, by the way, that last little piece there, that's it. That's network marketing. That's the best of network marketing.
Yep.
You're muted, Madeline.
That was to help me be quiet when I'm not supposed to talk. So the magic in what you just said is the trust in the ABC and getting better at it. Because if you want to be the leader of 6 level deeps or more, you really need to be the expert and to be trusted by each level, that you're teaching each level. And that ABC is so we have all these different kinds of events. And what has been the most frustrating, I had the 4 levels deep and 5 levels in one and 6 levels wide, but never got below that. And that, to be able to do that. And what I find is many people are, it's my business and I don't need an ABC, or I don't want you to be the ABC. Well, that's okay. We'll find somebody else to be the ABC. And I've called you guys in and plugged people in. And so I think it's that ABC becoming as expert, just listening to you two and adding Ihor the other evening. There's a smoothness. You've done it for years, but it's trusting that and replicating that and being able to fish down and get that deep. But what I saw, you asked in the beginning, what is the business? When I first look at the difference from the pyramid that I came out of, it is the leveraging, and that there is no limit, that you really can keep going on and on. The other thing that I learned both in the old traditional business and this is there will always be turnover. People leave, they die, they get divorced, whatever, and you still have to keep working it. And if you have to put some money in, Dave, and I think we've all done that at some time or another. But in listening to Luis when he was here, this whole retailing thing, if we had and now with the way social media is and retail and so much Amazon trucks running around and so forth, people are ordering online. Building that base for the ones that want to do it really help to qualify those legs if we can get down to the 3rd and the 5th and the 6th level, so that then you're really sorting for among those people and who you're really sorting for. So I think the prospecting of the qualifying really comes from listening to the A that you bring in. So you listen to them asking the questions for the traits that you're looking for the kind of leadership that you're looking for. So for those that want to be the franchise business, they're important. The retailers are important. The wholesalers are important. But really to find those leaders that want to be a qualified diamond and above means having the right ABC and knowing what traits to be looking for in interviewing. And that's, I think, our missing link. We can, most of us can explain a comp plan and we keep talking about it over and over again, but there's something missing in doing more of those ABCs and leveraging these events so that these events can be the A's in finding those people. So maybe Mike, talking about those qualities, being self-directed. Dave, you always say, give yourself orders. That's true. Having a schedule all day, what are you going to do? Have it written down and stick to it. And because it's easy to get distracted if you're working at home, and it's easy if you don't give yourself the orders so that you model that for someone else. I think those are our challenges since we moved from going to events, monthly events, weekly events, Saturday, once a month business thing, where you were able to plug people into and bring other people, and the event and the other people were the A's. But people don't want to do that today. So we do
Well,
have,
I don't know. I
not
don't know.
completely, not completely.
I think this is coming back.
Yeah, well, it's worked with me. That's what I've been working on and following up with. And I was at another event this coming past Saturday, and there were people there from 15. I went up to one and she said, Madeline, I'm so
Hang
and
on,
so.
hang on. That's a sideline.
Enough.
Okay,
Okay, enough.
sidebar.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so let
okay,
me just
right.
recap. So, but you mentioned retail, and I know that you're trying to give value to that, but it's really different than network marketing. It's
No, no,
just
no,
not
no,
net.
no. Giving value to strengthening the
Yeah,
qualified
let
legs.
me
So
just say, if I've
that's
got
it.
5 hours in a day, or 3 hours in a day, or 2 hours in a day to do NECAN, I'm not going to do it retail. I personally, because I understand what Paula took 25 years to figure out. I
Mhm.
knew that day one. So I spent all my time and energy on building a network. A lot of people don't know it, and it takes them time to learn it. So you've got to give them methodology to employ themselves. And of course, retail is the most fundamental and basic methodology to become self-employed with NECAN. So it's not a bad thing to know it, understand it, and be able to offer it to somebody who does not yet have the understanding, the full on understanding, or for that matter, the driver motivation to build a network marketing business. So it's
Well,
not
that's
to
what we can
say,
say
it's,
in the
it's,
ABC when we have those
it's
people,
not to
Michael,
say,
to say.
Madeline, it's not to say, first of all, I don't place emphasis where it doesn't need to be. So if I have a person telling me they want to make $5,000 a month, I'm not going to be teaching them how to retail, $20,000 worth of product. I'm going to show them how to build a network that's going to reward them $5,000 a month. And that's what they really want, because what they really want is the freedom of time that goes with the money that they're not currently enjoying, even if they are currently earning 5,000 a month with their current form of employment. So network marketing is all I care to teach. And that's not to say there isn't value in these other methods. But the biggest checks in NECAN are not going to people who have large retail volume. They're going to people who have large networks. So I'm going to stick to what I know. That's network marketing. However, if you have a network and you want to get the maximized production value out of that network, it's not a bad idea to have retail incentives, to have retail engines, and so forth. So in hindsight, it's always a good idea. However, when you're building the network, when you're out there, expanding to build a team, the focus is not on the product itself. The focus is on the product of the product and the system. It's the idea that you can create a lifestyle leveraging the product, the system, and the time that others can contribute to this. It's that conversation. So we're sticking to our conversation that this call focus is building a network. Building a network, which means duplication of people.
The point I wanted to make was in talking to 100 people and learning how to do those ABCs and sort. That's how you learn, unless you start talking to people and ask them the questions. What do they want to learn? What their strengths are? You don't know. When you find out they don't want to
Well,
be a network marketer,
The
then
ABC is critical because the ABC is the shortest way to increase somebody's productivity. It's the surest way to give them added credibility, and therefore they can leverage an ABC when they have somebody on the other end who can answer the questions and can present the case. So the thing that I would point out that Madeline has emphasized. So we have Bela, or somebody was talking about getting started. I think it may have been Paula, and getting started with durables and auto ship. So having a onboarding procedure, getting started. And I want to come back to that because I'm encountering this right now. Then we want to have tap rooting as a concept, help people, sponsor people in depth. We want to leverage using the ABC because ABC is critical to the whole process of enrollment and sponsoring and educating people. So far, those are the big ticket items. Bela?
Okay, for me, you guys are way ahead because I'm relatively new here. So the way I've been writing down what I wanted to say. So to me, to start at the beginning, network marketing is about selling. It's the activity of selling and being of service. And therefore, in order to be of service, there's two ways you can serve. Either one, but you need to know the needs of your prospect, whether it's a customer or a potential entrepreneur. So to me, that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that I want to be able to provide value and build some kind of a trust with the people that I'm prospecting so that I can either develop a team through them or sell retail product. And in order to have a team, I need to be able to support them and encourage them and teach them that duplication that you talk about all the time, that they need to be able to duplicate the effort. It takes a consistent effort every day. That's why the power hour. So in my mind, if I'm focusing on that service, whether it is to my customer or to my team member, I am part of that network, and therefore I'm perpetuating that network because
Mhm.
you do need both. And you also need to be your own customer, I found. You do. And so the last thing is the the biggest thing about providing that service is what better way? You can't even get customer service in a store anymore. Nobody knows anything and nobody cares about knowing anything. Whereas in a network marketing atmosphere, we know our products. Not only do we know our products because we learn about them, but we live with them. We buy them. We swear by them. So therefore, we're enthusiastic about the products. And what better way to sell something than when you are gung ho about that product or that service? And the more I listen to all of you guys on Monday night, because that's what drew me in, Michael, that first time when you said to me, "Well, why are you here on that Thursday night call?" I just came to watch. I didn't know why I was there. And then when I heard you speak, I said, "Holy smokes, this has helped me so much. Why wouldn't I want to serve by selling the product?" And that's what got me going. I don't know what words you said, but it just hit home. And so since then, the way I approach it that I am serving something that whoever I'm talking to is lacking. So I am filling that hole in them that someone filled for me. And
I want to just jump in here for a second because the term selling can mean a lot of different things.
I know, and I don't
So,
like the word.
so I would rather stick to what you're saying, which is serving. You feel compelled to serve other people through the benefits of these products, which is to offer them a way that they can get access to them themselves, which is
Yes,
very different than
I
I'm
know.
selling them. It's
Right,
giving them access. It's providing them a buying opportunity where they can
right,
get access to them at different prices depending on how they want to approach that. So it's being of service and allowing them, giving them access to what you've learned, what you've gained, and how they can connect directly to Nikan as a consumer.
right.
So
And
that's more
then,
of an educator's role and guiding their process role than the typical terminology we use for
Right.
sales. You know,
So
a
that's the
person
way
might sell a car and not drive that car.
right, right. So that's the way I came to look at it. And as far as building my team goes, I'm looking at the same thing, but now they may have the person who wants to be a network marketer or an entrepreneur has a different hole to fill.
Hmm.
And but it all starts with the fact that I'm serving them by showing them what a wonderful company, what a wonderful product it is. And so then if by learning the compensation plan, thanks to Lynn, I was able to determine what I needed to do, and I had made a commitment that by my birthday on August the 18th, I was going to be a silver. And I made that commitment, I think the third week in July or the second week in July, and by the fourth week in July, I was a silver. So part of it was being in the right place at the right time and maybe a little bit of luck, but a lot of it was my shift that I'm not selling, I'm serving. And I think that's what's helped me.
That's
So,
important. I think that's why I wanted to bring that emphasis
yeah,
because I would say that there was a lot of hesitation out there in the world for people to join a sales force or to be considered, putting on a hat. And now my new
yeah,
title is salesperson
exactly. And the one,
versus
sorry, go ahead.
versus an enthusiast,
Right,
versus somebody who's really enthusiastic about what they're sharing and providing people with pathways to gain access to this, I think
right.
is really important.
And
That terminology.
the one thing I've really learned from John Assaraf in the last month or so is he always says to us, nobody wants to be sold, but everyone wants to buy.
Yeah, so does
So,
Mike DiMuccio say that, by the
okay. Well, you both were together at one point, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I haven't heard you say that, but he says it
You
constantly.
haven't, then you haven't been
No.
listening to the recordings. They're on
Oh,
all the calls.
I'm on all the calls, Michael. I don't miss a
Then
call.
it's going over you. Because
Maybe
yes,
it was.
that's
Okay, but what I'm trying to get at is that again, that's where that service part comes because my focus is always on that. And I know that if I'm
mhm.
serving, then I know that everything else will follow.
Okay. So network marketing is a consistent effort daily, being
Hmm.
your own best customer, creating a buying environment that people can by serving people. That's sounds like. And I wanted to point out that you made a decision, and inside of 6 weeks of making a decision to be a silver, you got silver done,
No, in
and
two
that's
weeks. In
within
2 weeks.
2 weeks. You said it was the last week of July. By the fourth week of August, you were silver.
No, no. I said by August 18th, I wanted to be silver. I decided that mid-July, and
Yeah.
10 days later, I was a silver.
Okay. Okay. So within 2 weeks of making
Yeah,
the decision, but the catalyst was the decision. And that shifted you in a
yeah,
big way. And I think it's really, really important, guys, that we recognize silver is not something that happens by accident. It's
no,
by a decision. And so if we want to create more silvers, we've got to get more people to the decision point where they're actually making a decision to go for silver. We should talk about what that looks like, maybe in a future call. What is it that's necessary for a person to say, okay, I'm going silver? To make that choice, not I'm doing the business, I'm going to get more serious, no generality. I'm getting silver done. Something triggered that with Bela. If you listen to the audio, it's an old one, it's on YouTube, and it's called Silver's a Blast. Silver's a Blast by Mike DiMuccio. It's an old audio. It was a recording of a conference call I did of people who had just gone silver. It was a whole whack of them. But I walk through the process, and the process for every single one of them began when they made the decision. Some of them were in the business for only 8 days. Some of them were in the business for over 8 months. So it wasn't how long you were in the business. It was when they made the decision, and within 6 weeks of that point, they all went silver. So there was something we learned very, very clearly. they have to make a decision to do it. So there's got to be a reason for them to make that decision. There has to be a prompt for them to make that decision. We've got to create a place where that becomes self-evident and they make that decision. We can talk more about that. That's part of the rhythm of the business. Lynn.
Just going to share something I experienced in Saturday very quickly. I had a referral. I've never met an individual. We coincidentally connected, meeting in Mississauga, Michael. You know, I'm in Hamilton. So I coordinated a meeting. Her name is Jacqueline, but I'm going to do something else. And here's what I wanted to share with everyone. She ended up flipping the time around. I ended up in a network marketing meeting. It was over 200 people in the room. But guess what? They're similar to Prime America model. And guess what they were focusing on? They are teaching people. They are learning. And the reason there was over 200 people, I was shocked, is it was all about money, trying to help empower families. And anyways, the end of it, the moral of the story to all this, I know that I wouldn't want to sponsor her. I would want her to be part of a team, but the part that I really want to share, I was shocked with how many people showed up at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. So there it is. It's happening in other network marketing companies.
Right. And they're willing
That's in Mississauga.
because what is on the table, and believe me,
Yes.
they're not jumping up and down because they have a product. They're selling
No.
insurance.
They're
It's
selling
not,
insurance.
it's not the product that
No.
drives network marketing.
They flipped it around. They call it teaching, but everybody needs to earn income. Over 200 people.
Yeah. Dave, this will be right in your alley. You're next.
Well, actually, it was something Bella said that what you really have to look at here is what Niken does, how it operates, what they keep and what they get rid of, and what makes sense. So, for example, if Niken has a product that doesn't sell well, they get rid of it. If Niken has a product that sells well, they keep it.
Mm-hmm.
If a distributor doesn't perform, he quits. If we do work and sell a product, we all earn the same thing. We earn a commission and we get paid in dollars and cents. If you don't make enough money, you'll spend more than you make. That's a societal problem, and it's been going on for generations. You'll go broke. So the key to success here is to understand how it works, communicate that, and then those that see that picture will make their mind up and do what they want to do, just like you're doing. So your model is you. My model was me. But one of my top producers in my business, a dentist, he was sick and tired of putting his hands in people's mouths. Didn't want to do it anymore. And he was a social being. He loved talking. He loved communicating. He loved being with people. He became huge because that's what he loved to do. But he saw what he saw based on what was presented to him. So I want you to keep in mind that you may think you're serving people. Other people might not agree with you. But if you don't allow them to be who they are, then we're in deep trouble, because that's the basis of success. Is the company does two things. It finds customers and it finds distributors.
Right.
And then it pays the commission on any juice that's made, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what Michael and I have been trying to communicate is we had an unbelievable success. Millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of success. I'm now in my 35th year, going into my 36th year. And it's still paying out. I put my kids through college. I married my daughter. I took care of my granddaughter. The story just keeps going on and on and on and on. And we learned what to do. And what we're trying to communicate to you guys here is listen, pay attention. And that's why we said, bring somebody on this call and we'll help teach them. That's how it works. And then they'll teach them to do the same thing. That's how it works. Michael talked about it's called taprooting. You create vested interest. The more vested interest you create, the more you grow. A large organization is made up of groups, a small organization is made up of individuals. So if you're just an individual and a bunch of individuals, then it ain't working right. And we really want you to make this work right, because that's all we've got left to give is how to make it work because of our success. But it's really simple. You just do. So if we follow, and that's why I brought up this thing. Well, tell us how you do it. Because again, this is you should walk out of your house today and talk to 10 people, and the next day and find some. That's really how simple it is. That's all I did. I walked out of my house and went and talked to people. Period. I had 15 people on the list because the rest I blew through 13 other network marketing companies that didn't work. So I didn't have any warm market. But here's what I knew. If I communicated to somebody else and they saw what I saw, game over. Mike calls that the law of attraction. Well, I just called it as getting out there and PRing, marketing my brains out, talking to anybody who would walk. So again, we don't want to make it too complex here. We want to make it really simple. But the simplicity of it is when somebody buys a product, you make a commission. When a distributor buys products, you make an override. Doesn't work any other way. So if a distributor comes in and does nothing, you earn nothing. If a customer comes along and doesn't buy any more products, then that's it, game over. You got to find another one.
Let me pivot on that for. Let me pivot on that, Dave. If a distributor comes in and does nothing, you make nothing. Starting with their first order. If there isn't a first order, then I would ask, why isn't there a first order? Why did they sign? Did they want to be part of a cult? Do they benefit from just being a part of a network marketing company in name only? Or did they join to be successful? And therefore, can you, with confidence, instruct them on what their first actions need to be?
I can now.
Good. Bailey can now. And one of the reasons why Dave and I put ourselves out on these calls, especially on Thursday, is because we can. We have all the confidence in the world to tell your new distributor, your prospect, if you want to get started in this as a business, making money, then first and foremost, you need to invest in your business. And there's 3 areas of investment. The first is your time. If you don't set some time aside to do this on a daily basis, then this is just a joke. 2, your money. Now, it's not like something that you have to invest big dollars for, but your investment in your products, which is your product experience, which is your story, is probably the biggest investment you're going to make financially. And then third, your network, your existing contacts. If you're not willing to invest in reaching out to every one of them, then don't start, because you don't have the desire enough to make it work. But if you're willing to invest in those 3 things, we're going to show you how to take a little bit of time, a little bit of money, and a small network of people that you know, and turn it into freedom of time, a tremendous cash flow, and a network that spans the globe. Does that sound like something you want to get started on, or yes or no? So it's with confidence you can tell people, hey, even a snowman starts out first as a snowball. Your investment is the snowball. We're going to help you roll it in the snow to turn it into a snowman. For those of you who have snow. Paula.
Just look at a $2,000 investment in the stock market for 12 months. How much money are you going to make? $100? Show them how you can take 2,000 and turn it into 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 by building a team. If you think big and think in futures.
Yeah.
This is Napoleon Hill. Think big and think in futures. So you're not sitting here to recruit somebody to come in for 10 days and fall on his ass and go by. You're bringing somebody in here to help develop them and create a team. Think big. Think in futures. So put in a year's worth of time. If you wanted to recruit me, just think about it. If you wanted to recruit a person like me, you'd probably want somebody like me, or I want Michael. I've already got dibs on Michael. He's going in my organization. You guys can't have him. But if you want to recruit me, then I would have Michael. So we'd have one hell of a team. But I remember in 2000, I was going through a divorce. Everything was frozen. Couldn't spend our money. My checks were writing $80,000 a month with Nikin, and I couldn't spend it because they were tied up in court. So I went to another deal that was not network marketing, and the first thing they says, well, it's going to cost you $5,000 to join. But they said if you put in the 5,000 and you take the course and you learn what to do, then you can make an unlimited amount of money with that opportunity. The next 3 years, I made $1.2 million off that $5,000 investment. So it's called return on investment, ROI. In other words, we're all fairly smart people that are in business or want to be business, and we want to either learn what to do or understand what to do. But most of us want to do so we can have. What do we want to have? We want to have a nice lifestyle. We want to be able to take our kids, like Michael takes care of his kids. I took care of my kids. We want to be able to travel around the world. All of those kind of wonderful things. We want to do the nice things. We want to help other people. Well, it takes a lot of do-re-mi to do those kind of things. And if you want to attract those kind of people, then you got to think big and think in futures. Okay, I want you to be a part of my distribution team. We're going to make a small fortune. Let me show you how this works. Now, let me get you on the phone with somebody that's made millions of dollars so they can really help paint the picture. If the right person is there listening to you and they're seriously interested in solving their issue, they're going to say, let's do it. I'm ready. We'll do the rest. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. So that's the idea, is don't get so fixed on what your situation is. Understand what the big picture is, because that's what we attract. We look at all the people we attracted in the years that we were in this business. Unbelievable people. Had tremendous success all over. I mean, it was just a fabulous, just had a ball.
60,000 people a week are joining a network marketing company in America.
Yeah.
60,000. Somebody's talking to somebody. Paula?
Yeah, I agree with what Dave said. When I walked into the water store, Lynn and I were doing a golf tournament, and we were going to show them the difference between Pymag water and regular water. So I had a container that I was looking for a spigot for. So I went into the water store to buy a spigot. And we got to talking about alkaline water. And I went and did the pH test with her, and she was blown away. She says, if you've got brochures, she says, I'll hand them out for you. She says, not that I want to lose water business, but I said, well, you don't have to. I said, you can market the machines yourself. And we got to talking about it. And I just explained the comp plan from day one to silver. And I said, silver is the point where you maximize the compensation plan. I said, and you should try and get to silver as quick as possible. So what we did was, she wanted to order one water machine for a friend of hers who has esophageal cancer, and she wanted the alkaline water for her. And she wanted one for in her store so she could market it. So I said to her, fine, I'll sign you up, or wait until Wednesday to place the order. And she says, why is that? And I says, we have double points. And if you order 2 water machines, you'll automatically be executive. You'll be halfway to silver. And so she thought that was a good idea. So that's how I got her to executive. Next step is, when I go tomorrow, I'll get her on auto ship. But then I want to find out, what does she want to do? Does she just want to retail some product, or does she want to build a network? So, that's sort of like my step-by-step plan. And I have to thank Leo, because it was Leo's plan for people who don't know about network marketing to give him that 45-second presentation book. And I had it in my library, never read it, decided to read it. And that's what changed things for me. But what Bela said is wanting to serve. And like you said, Michael, people don't want to sign up to sell product. So what I do is I tell them, you know what? I can help set you up so that you can buy direct from the company. I said, and should you become enthusiastic about these things, you're part of a wellness community. I said, and if you share your information with people, you can make a commission. And when you put it that way, they don't feel that they're compelled to sell. But if they just share their experience with people, I said, the company will give you a referral, and that seems to be a lot easier for people to accept, because for less than the price of a Costco membership, they can now become a member of the wellness community. And it just seems to be working for me.
Languaging. That's marketing, by the way. It's very important that we upgrade our languaging, because that is a softer way to present NECANN in a way that more people are going to relate to it. Well, this is our time.
What was really surprising to me is I found out that 30 years ago she was a NECANN rep.
Yeah. And there's a lot of them out there.
There you go.
All right. Thanks, guys. Very good call. I'm going to call this one. We asked ... What is network marketing? ? This is call 40. And yeah, this is a good one to maybe review and share. That's part of the process of becoming successful is becoming aware, right? Understanding. And learning that network marketing is a very, very unique craft. It's not something most people understand intuitively or implicitly. And so our job is to help them understand it by understanding it ourselves. And these conversations we will continue when we don't have new guests to meet. So thanks everybody for joining.
Bring somebody new next week. Bring somebody new next week. Bring somebody new next week.
Awesome. Thanks everybody. Have a great one.
Thanks, Mike. You too.
Thank you.